Hi, welcome to Inside Veganism Women's Hour. Now, this has been in the making now for just a couple of months, and I'm really excited to have an all-female panel of wonderful vegan ladies talking about anything vegan related. And I just want to give you a little intro. So I'm totally new to this, so bear with me, okay? And these ladies as well. 6 months ago, I didn't even know them. And they're just so inspiring, and they all bring different elements to the vegan movement. I mean, activism, being a conscious consumer, the environment, plastics, standing up for what's right. And yeah, they're just all inspirational, and I cannot wait to have them on the show today and talking about loads of different things. And today we're going to be talking about feminism. We're going to be talking about discrimination in the workplace, and we're just going to be talking about loads of different subjects. So first of all, I want to bring in, let me just check my list. So we're going to have first in discussing feminism, we're going to have Emily and we're going to have Emma. And they're just going to join us now. And just to start, I also want to give you a little breakdown from the Oxford Dictionary as to what feminism is. So, hi, Emily.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for joining us. And we're just waiting for Emma to come in as well. And then what we can do is we can get talking about feminism. And I think it's something very important that we need to talk about. I don't know what you feel, but I think it's important.
Yeah,
hey.
Definitely.
Hello. Hello. Thank you for joining us. Right. So what I want to do is talk about feminism from the Oxford Dictionary. And the definition is the advocacy of women's rights on the grounds of equality of the sexes. And do you think that feminism is a vegan-based issue? What do you think about that, Emily?
Well, I mean, I definitely think it has like a lot of links, like because the females in animal agriculture are so oppressed and so used, and it's their system, they're like bodily systems that we use to create milk and eggs and so many products like that. So you can't, I don't really think you can talk about one without talking about the other.
Yeah, 100%. What do you think, Emma?
Yeah, absolutely. Because veganism is a social justice movement at its core. That then ties in with all of the other social justice movements as well. And I often find that people are much more on board with things like feminism and LGBT rights more so than veganism, because it isn't human. It's an extension of that. It's an extension of the least harm and equality philosophy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's something I was talking about recently with a few different people. And do you think that you can be a feminist and not be vegan? I've actually put that tweet out to a few different feminist groups and they've all kind of ignored it. But what do you think? What about vegetarian women? Or do you think that call themselves feminists? I don't know. What do you think? Emily, go for it. What do you think?
Well, I mean, obviously most of it comes from misunderstanding, but it just doesn't make sense. It's actually one of the things that first made me go vegan was I read an article on why you can't be feminist and drink dairy. And I read it and I was like, yeah, that just makes sense.
Yeah. What do you think, Emma?
I think because you kind of have to recognize that people they're speciesist. Our culture is speciesist. So you can, I guess, label yourself whatever you want and still be other females of a different species, which for me as a vegan, that isn't particularly feminist. You have to think of the whole female experience, and that does include animals for me.
Yeah.
Interesting what Emily said about dairy. I found that a lot of mothers, when they have, when women have children, they suddenly step back and they start thinking about dairy in a completely different way.
Yeah. I mean, that's quite an interesting subject on itself. I mean, what do you guys think about breastfeeding? I mean, I was in a situation recently where there was a woman in the street and she was breastfeeding her baby, which is obviously the most natural thing. That's why we have them, so we can produce milk. And people were getting so uncomfortable. And I just find that quite shocking. But yeah, if you used to crack open some milk from a carton and drink that, people wouldn't think twice about it. So why do you think in society it's acceptable to drink milk from another species, but not from a mother to give it to her own baby? I mean, Emma, what do you think on that?
We live in such a sexualized society. Like, boobs are for guys. If you look at all the advertisements around, you know, not feeding children, that's ridiculous. Obviously, it's the opposite. And then you have all this propaganda for milk, where it's, you know, the milk campaigns. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. For copyright.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that at that talk in, yeah.
And so
we saw that as a talk by Sophie, I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there was a recent thing with like a rugby team drinking milk, and it's for athletes and so it's manly to drink the breast milk of another species, but to condemn your own species for feeding their child.
Yeah. It is quite ludicrous. What do you think, Emily, about breastfeeding in public and how, I mean, have you seen anybody get uncomfortable with it, or?
People get uncomfortable all the time, and it's ridiculous. Like when in restaurants I used to work in before, you'll have women go and like hide in a corner so they can feed their child because people don't want it going on while they're at the table, and it's mad. Like, it just is ridiculous. It's a baby. It needs to eat. Like, there's nothing more to it, really.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that maybe we should give female breast milk like from humans to calves, maybe switch it up a bit and share it? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe then people would understand, wouldn't they? It's like things like you see so many women now who are like using their breast milk to make like cakes for their toddlers and things like that, and people were like, oh, that's gross. Wow.
Yeah, they really cringe at it. I actually spoke to a vegetarian girl the other day, and she said something very similar. She went to a dinner party and the woman had made cheese out of her own breast milk.
Wow.
And she said that everyone kind of freaked out and felt really sick. I was like, yeah, but at least it's from your own kind of species. You're not drinking calf's milk. It's just weird. Yeah.
It is really strange.
So, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. It's weird. Yeah, but I've had people as well ask, like, oh, so you're vegan, so you can't breastfeed your children and things like that. It's like, oh, you just.
What do you say when people say that to you?
Yeah, well, it's about consent, and it's a bond between a mother and a baby. And it's a mother giving her milk to her baby, and she's completing it, which is very different in all the other circumstances, like with a cow, like, which is just taking their milk. We obviously can't ask them, so there's absolutely no consent involved in that at all.
Yeah, exactly. I just find the milk and dairy industry quite fascinating, especially when you talk to women about it. I find some women have actually got more uncomfortable talking about dairy than they have talking about actually consuming and eating meat. I don't know if you've had any similar experiences. I mean, have you had that, Emily?
Yeah, I've had it as well. And you have a lot of like, it's a lot of mothers that make the connection when they'll have a baby. And then they see the dairy industry and they're like, oh my goodness. And that is quite a big eye-opener for a lot of women is when they have children and see that industry. I suppose often until they've had that bond, they don't often see it. But it just shows how it's just the same thing. It's just a different species. Yeah,
definitely. Do you have any thoughts on it, Emma?
Just mentioning the different species, there is a group in, I think it's South America, where they do actually breastfeed different orphaned animals. I think the way they get these animals is because they're hunter-gatherers and they're sort of the orphans of their action. But the females are known to breastfeed other animals, monkeys, and things like that. So that was interesting. Some of the comments on that article that I read were not positive about that, but I thought how wonderful is it to give life when it's needed, you know, to nurture another life. And that's what we're forgetting. It's a privilege to nurture another life if you have the option.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Right, so ladies, I'm going to bring on the other two, Nikki and Belle, and I'm going to ask them some very similar questions about feminism and see what they think about it. So thank you for your... Okay, so we're going to be bringing on Nikki and Belle, and I'm going to ask them very similar questions about feminism and see what they think. I know that Nikki is a bit of a warrior. So we'll see what Nikki has to say. So hi, Belle, and thank you for joining us. I'm aware that you're in Germany right now, having birthday celebrations.
Thank you. Yeah.
How's that going?
I thought you said happy birthday. I was like, thanks.
Well, yeah, happy birthday. Yeah.
Thank you. It was yesterday, but I'm having a birthday week celebration. So every day is my birthday this week. Yeah, awesome. It's amazing. I love Berlin. Absolutely love it.
Lovely. Very nice. And hi, Nikki. Thank you for joining us again. How's it going?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, all good.
Cool. So I want to ask you ladies the same questions about feminism. And do you think that it's a vegan related issue? And do you think that you can be a feminist and not be vegan? So Nikki, I'll propose that to you. What do you think?
Okay, it's a really funny one because there's an awful lot of feminists that aren't vegan. And I think that perhaps is just purely lack of education, just like vegetarians and meat eaters that proclaim that they love animals, just a lack of education. And I think once you're educated, if you are a feminist, it's a no-brainer. You at that point, you cannot be a feminist and promote feminism and not be vegan, because the dairy industry and the egg industry is the most horrific exploitation of female reproductive systems ever. It's horrendous. So you kind of have to be, but we just have to try and educate the feminists. We need to get to like feminist events and marches and do some activism at those places.
Yeah. Have you ever had any conversations with any feminists about veganism who weren't vegan?
I haven't. I've actually found feminists that I've met have been vegan within the vegan community. So I can't say that I have, no.
No. Okay, Belle, what about you? Do you know any ladies that are feminists but not vegan?
I knew some of my close friends. So when I first met them, they weren't vegan, but they were very socially aware and feminists. But I think along the way, they sort of educated themselves on the connection between veganism and feminism. So, I mean, I'm sure there are tons of feminists who are not vegan, but my immediate environment is made up mostly of vegans, thankfully.
Yeah.
You're
that's
so
great.
lucky.
Yeah. I was going to say.
I feel like I live in a bubble where like everybody around me is vegan, so that when I leave and I go traveling or I'm somewhere else and people around me are not vegan, I'm like, whoa, like, how do I deal with that? Like, I forget what it's like to not be around like-minded people. So it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, especially like if you go to eating, going out for meals with family or friends, and I went out for dinner recently for a friend's birthday and it was lovely, but I went out with 3 other ladies and one ordered steak, one ordered ribs, and one ordered like half a chicken, and it just arrived and it was just like, I don't know what to do. I mean, what have you guys been in those situations? When what do you do?
Oh yeah. I work at a company where I think we have about 3 people who are vegan, which is a lot more than I know a lot of people's companies, but the majority of my coworkers aren't vegan, and every day at lunchtime somebody will be eating meat, and your immediate reaction is to be like, that is a dead animal, like why are you putting that in your body? But I found that is not really the best way to approach that subject, and it's always like the more educational or compassionate approach that works. So I'm just trying to lead by example, eat my yummy food, share my food with others, and just get them, like, let them make the connection and decide to try something else.
And have you had much success with that? Have people been like very responsive? Or
yeah, a lot of my coworkers are eating a lot more vegan food. Like my boss recently, almost every week now, he'll come to work and he'll be like, Belle, I had a vegan burger today, or I had a vegan lasagna last night. And I'm like, great, I'm so proud of you. And it's like, I'm really happy. I had to tell you.
Oh, that's really cool. And Nikki, what about your dining experiences? I mean, are your family vegan or friends? Apart from your like vegan family?
My vegan family is massive. Unfortunately, I don't get to spend as much time as I would like with them. So generally, I eat at home. I'm currently back living with my mum, and mum's vegan, so that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's perfect. We've got our little vegan world, vegan bubble. We shout and swear at the carnist TV adverts together. But
that's great.
Out, at work is tough, but my co-workers are actually super compassionate and like towards me. They make fun of me, but it's in jest. I have to sort of just take it because they haven't seen what I've seen. They don't know what I know. For me at work, what I really love is that I'll always be heating up my lunch. Someone will walk in and go, "That smells amazing," or "That looks amazing," and I'm like, "Yeah, no dead bodies in here." Like, I'll try and make it like a bit of banter. But that's just my personality.
But do you ever get backlash from saying comments like that?
Yesterday, I made a comment in passing, and I know, basically, we were talking about the fox, okay, and they were saying somebody was like, "Oh, have you seen a dead fox floating in the lake?" And I was like, I overheard them. I was like, "Is he floating? Like, is he there?" They were like, no, we're just messing around, just talking about it. I was like, right, okay. And then they went, "To be fair, his body's probably being consumed by whatever." And I went, "Yes, circle of life and that." And now they didn't appreciate that because I think obviously they don't have a vegan mindset. So to me, that is normal. If somebody passes away and maggots eat the body or other carnivorous animals eat the body, that really is the circle of life. What we're doing to animals isn't, but I have to understand that those people don't know that. So anyway, I said that and they all looked at me like, and I walked out and then I could hear them chuckling, and then I noticed one of them looking to see if I was looking, and I thought, "You fuckers," turned about me. But yeah,
it is difficult.
It's difficult. And eating out at restaurants is the worst. I don't know about you guys, but wherever I am, whoever I'm with, if they're not vegan, I'm introduced as the vegan or the animal rights activist, or "Don't say that, Nikki's vegan." And it's like, I'm not gonna fucking cry. Like, what? It's so weird. It's so weird. And
it is.
Seeing the body parts and stuff, it's horrible. I only endure it perhaps if I really love the people I'm with, because of course I love people that eat animals. You can't just,
it's difficult, isn't it, trying to get that balance?
And I think isolating yourself makes it worse for us. So sometimes I am around people eating animals, but generally it's them that brings up the topic of conversation. I don't have to do it, but I do have a very expressive face, so it's quite likely they're eating or something, and I'm looking at them like
I mean, what about you, Belle? How is it in Germany, like with your friends? Are they vegan as well?
Yeah, they are. So luckily we haven't had any issues, and Berlin is such a vegan friendly city. Like, we're in a little cafe right now that has vegan options.
Yay!
That's Marina. Do you want to say hi?
Hi.
So we've had an amazing experience. I don't think we've been to any cafes or restaurants that aren't fully vegan so far. So I hadn't really had to deal with non-vegan food on my table. Like, obviously happens more rarely for me than others because of all of my friends are vegan. So whenever we go out in London, it will be to a vegan restaurant. But going back to family, that's probably where the real struggle is, because they just don't understand.
I mean, I remember Yeah, you was on the on the live show on Inside Veganism before, and you said about your family, how they would let you play with the animals, and then it's okay to play with them until you need to eat them. Like,
yeah, it's so messed up that this is the mindset that people grow up with, but I feel like people don't want to ruin their happy idea of life because it's easy, and that's it. At the end, it comes to convenience and habit, and morals seem to be put in the back.
Pushed to the side. Yeah,
What morals?
definitely. Yeah, exactly. But it's so difficult, to say to people about, why you're doing what you're doing without getting a bit of backlash.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose you need to stay calm, and that's something I need to learn. I don't know. You ladies seem to have it under control.
Personally, I use humour.
Yeah?
Yeah, just a dark, blunt humour. I don't know. I make them laugh at the same time as planting a seed. That's my tactic.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a difficult one. But what I'll do is actually continue that conversation with you now, Nikki. And thank you, Belle. We're just going to bring in Emily now. We're going to talk a little bit more about discrimination in the workplace and comments that get made. Because Nikki, is quite appropriate to go on with you saying things that are humorous. But I've said something before at work, and I said chicken period, and I got told that I was an extremist. So it's quite... I've tried the humour tactic, and that just doesn't seem to get me in anyone's good books. So
I didn't proclaim to be in anyone's good books.
Okay. I want to be in them anyway. Yeah. So Emily, have you had any discrimination in the workplace at your current employer or any previous ones? As you said earlier, you used to work in a restaurant and things.
Yeah, at my current one, I'm really lucky because I just work by myself, so it's great. I just do my own thing. Before I've worked in kitchens where there's a lot of banter in a kitchen anyway, but vegan just makes it easy. It's like, okay, let's just come out with everything. It's usually just banned anyway, and through it they learn a lot as well. I worked with a chef who actually didn't know what a vegan was, and he every 5 minutes was ringing the bell, asking another question and another question, another question. I was like, wow, I'm actually really amazed you don't know these answers. You're a chef. What happened?
That's scary.
Yeah, that is quite worrying.
It really was.
Wow.
It's just it's really weird things. I can't remember all of them now, but I just remember at the time being like, okay.
That's very strange. But do you remember anyone ever saying anything to you, to stop? Have you had to curb certain conversations at work? You don't feel you can talk about veganism or?
Oh yeah, definitely. You'll get, especially, I think even it's more activism as well. So stop talking about this, or trying to get dates off work for certain things, and it's well, why do you want it off? It's not important, and just give me the day off for goodness sake.
Yeah. So they do kind of understand your current employer, then they let you...
Where I am now is really good, where I was before as well, but I have had issues with it in the past. It's
And what about you, Nikki, with activism? Have you had any problems with it in the workplace that you're currently at, or been at before, or
I'm gonna say no, I'm not having problems, but I will say there's a weird dynamic where I'm being spied on. Hello, if you're watching.
I've had that as well. People snooping.
Yeah. There's been a rumour around my office because I ask for donations on Patreon. There was a thing going around, Nikki doesn't want to be here, she just wants to do activism, she's not, serious about this. Which that is sabotaging me. That is just cruel. Everybody's got their passions and interests. just leave it out. I haven't been there very long, so I haven't really started requesting random days off to do activism. I've just been doing what I can, fitting it around it. But what's bizarre about that Patreon thing is that Nikki T, funnily enough, isn't actually my name. So how this person found...
Wow.
It's a bit creepy.
Sorry. Somebody just tried to call me. What bad timing. So if any of you said anything, I don't know what you said.
Oh, okay. No, we was listening to you.
Oh, I don't know what I was saying anymore.
It's proper like stalkerish level, isn't it? It's like, let's find out everything about this person. That's really creepy.
It makes me really rather uncomfortable. Yeah.
It's it's a real invasion into your like private life as well. It's like something you haven't disclosed, and then they'll just go and dig it up, and that's just a real invasion, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, did you both know that being vegan is a protected belief, as it were? Did you know that?
Yeah.
It's
a protected belief, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I just find, I mean, I've actually got that at the moment on one of my little slogans on my page. Whoever's watching me, by the way, veganism is a protected belief, because I've had very similar things, Nikki, for people like stalking and then ratting you out at work and then being pulled aside. It's just, I mean, what you do in your private life is up to you, you know, and if that's not encroaching on your work life, then that should be fine. But it's I mean,
it's a funny one, isn't it? It sparks so many reactions when you're doing something in your own that's completely not related to work.
Seriously,
it's not legal. It's not. You're just doing your thing.
Look at it this way. So if we just use basic common sense and logic, right? If it's a protective belief, therefore so must be being Muslim, yeah? Would we all agree? I think everybody would agree, right? So imagine it's your day off, you've gone to mosque, you've put it on your Facebook, and then everyone at work's going, oh my God, she's gone to the mosque.
That's
weird.
It's really weird.
It is weird.
It's really weird.
Discriminating in a way, because if you look at it that way, it's like, so what? Like, are you against that? Like, what's wrong with you? So
yeah, definitely. I mean, I've had a comment said to me before in the workplace, and somebody said to me, oh, I can't wait to have my sausage sandwich later. And I was like, you can't say things like that. I mean, if I was religious and I didn't eat pork and you said that to me, that's not cool. So what gives you the right to say that to me as a vegan, you know? Things like that. It's just not good.
I get those comments it's literally all day long, and I'll snap back. I will say, stop using euphemisms. It's a dead pig. You see, it made you laugh, right?
Yeah.
That's my sort of tactic.
Yeah. Do you have any advice, Emily, for people, like if anybody is getting any discrimination or comments made at them at work?
I guess it's just to speak up about it, because it's like it's so acceptable to pick on the vegan, and it's I guess making people aware that you're not comfortable with that as well. I mean, humour can work as well, but also people just don't realise that it's not nice. They just pick on the vegan because it's easy and it's really socially acceptable to do so. Yeah.
I mean, there's like that joke at the moment. How do you know if somebody's vegan? They'll tell you.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I've found everyone else will tell everyone else that I'm vegan.
Yeah, they will. They'll be like, oh, she's vegan. And then you're like, oh, we go. I've got to defend myself again.
Yeah.
Somebody walks in the office introducing a new person. Oh, this is Nikki the vegan.
Oh, yeah. I've always, when I'm with non-vegans, I'm always the vegan. So Even when I used to work in restaurants, my nickname was vegan. Okay.
But does it generally make us like a different? Are we like totally different subculture, or are we just other humans that don't consume
we're a cult.
and use animals? Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you guys been like compared to a cult? How many times do you hear that?
Oh, so regular. When I first went vegan, and I used to, watch some videos on YouTube, my boyfriend at the time, he used to go, "Oh, stop watching your vegan propaganda." Oh, wow. Okay.
That's not good.
Yeah, surprisingly, we're not together anymore.
Yeah. Well, there we go then. Oh dear. Right. So, what I'm gonna do is, on that happy note, I'm gonna now speak to Emma and Belle a little bit about the environment. But thank you, Nikki and Emily, and I'll have you back shortly when we talk about some more other stuff. So, there's a topic I want to talk about with the environment with Emma and Belle, and is the issue like regarding our environment a vegan one? And I know that Emma has done a lot of activism, and she goes around the country giving talks about plastics and things like that. And I know that as well, Belle is a very conscious consumer, and she's recommended to me some things to watch documentary-wise about the clothing industries and dyeing fabrics and so forth. And I think both of you have actually given me a lot of things to think about in terms of my living. And I'll start with you, Belle, first. I mean, do you think that our environment and, how we're treating it, do you think it's a vegan-related issue? And do you actually think that many vegans seem interested in trying to sort it out, or that it's just about the animals?
I think people often tend to concentrate on one social justice issue at a time. So either be it feminism, environmental preservation, racism, they'll focus on one thing and try and like fight that, but not realize that there's a connection between everything that is happening. And once you like start thinking more about it, then you realize, oh wait, like veganism and environment and feminism and all of these things, they have so much in common. And at first, obviously, when you first go vegan, it's all about changing, food, and then it's about not buying animal derived clothing. So it's slow steps, and I think the environment for many people is kind of like in the back seat, and it comes to realize the impacts a little bit later. Like for me, when I first went vegan, it was just food. And then I started opening my eyes more to the environmental implications of eating an animal diet. And I forgot what I was going with that. I started talking.
Okay.
But yeah, there's definitely a connection, and a big one. Like I assume most of you have seen Cowspiracy and all the facts about how bad animal agriculture is for the environment. And you should go watch Cowspiracy because it's an incredible film.
Yeah, definitely. And Emma, what do you think? Do you think that many vegans are conscious of the environment side of being vegan, or they're just not that interested? Or how do you feel that your talks go?
Right. I went vegan for the environment. I'm among the, I think it's 10% of vegans that go vegan for the environment. Wow. Well, initially I went vegetarian, and then about 9 years later I went vegan because I'd worked on the front lines of conservation for such a long time and formed these amazing bonds and understanding with wild species, wild individuals as well. So I came back and I thought, oh, hey, I'm going to see what this vegan thing, vegan cult is about.
Yeah, the cult.
And the day I went vegan, I went to Manchester Pig Save. And for all those years I didn't eat meat. I did my undergrad as environmental science, my postgrad in ecology and the environment, and obviously working with animals. I thought I knew, but I had no idea. And so from that day, that started the process of me changing my diet. But sort of back to your question about how people are responding to my talks as well. They're responding really well. And I think when you put forward that the environment should be somewhere for animals to be what we want for the domesticated animals, we want them to be wild, we want them to be able to choose, everything and anything, and have access to fresh water, light, etc. And even in the wild, we are denying them that.
Yeah, do you mean like the palm oil and things like that?
Yeah, with habitat loss, we are poisoning rivers, the oceans with plastic. We've created a lot of imbalance in food webs. And so one of the arguments for Canada goose, for example, is, the coyotes are a pest species. One, we've forgotten how to live with them. Two, we're taking their home. Three, we've in a lot of places caused what's called trophic cascade, where you take out the higher trophic feeders, so wolves, for example, that would naturally compete with coyotes. We've hunted them to the point where we're totally out of balance. And that somehow gives people an excuse to say, we'll just shoot things, but we won't actually restore ecosystems and try to heal the systems that also give us life. That's an important point as well. Conservation and environmental science is actually a way to help preserve ourselves and future generations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's about like going back to a little bit to do with clothing, Belle. You showed me or told me to watch a documentary called The True Cost. And I remember watching that and watching how much the rivers were being polluted by dyeing clothing and so forth. And I found that shocking. And I think when I spoke to you on the phone at the time, you said that you haven't actually bought any clothing or maybe one item from a charity shop since, because you were so like freaked out and you just wanted to use up what you had and make the most of it. And I would say I've definitely taken that on quite a bit recently. And what do you think about the clothing industries and how the pollution is happening into the environment via the seas and so forth?
I think that is something that not many people think about because it's not in front of our eyes. Obviously, no clothing brand is going to advertise with how much they're polluting our planet. And with the prices that you can get new clothes for at Primark or H&M, it just never really crosses your mind to be mindful about the quality of your clothes or where they're coming from, because a t-shirt for £5, you can wear it twice and then throw it away, and it's out of your life, out of your mind, but not really out of our planet. And like as you said, I haven't actually bought the only two items that I bought brand new since I watched that documentary were a pair of shoes from Will's Vegan Shoes and a backpack from JW Pay, which are two vegan, ethical, carbon neutral companies that I agree with their morals, and these are companies that I'd like to support with my money. Other than that, I've bought a couple of pieces at thrift stores, and that's at the moment the only way I would like to get new clothes in my wardrobe. Of course, there are many ethical clothing brands. The Girlfriend Collective is an incredible company that do yoga and workout clothes. And there's a number of other companies that are really worth supporting. But I would say if you don't think you can afford ethical clothing, secondhand is always the best alternative, because I think we need to strive more for a circular economy where we use whatever is already produced as opposed to producing even more and more and more, and then one day realizing that there's no much space left anymore. And again, with like dyeing clothes and using up resources to produce new clothes, if you're using secondhand clothes, you kind of like cut out that waste of resources.
Yeah, and what do you think we should do with used clothing? How far do you take it? I mean,
Depends on how it is, obviously. If you have items you don't like anymore, but they're very good quality, you can either donate them to a charity shop, or you can organize a clothes swap with your friends where everybody brings the clothes that they don't want to wear but are in good condition, and then you share it between yourselves. And then everybody ends up with new clothes. You don't spend any money. You don't throw anything away. Another thing is you can use old T-shirts or old clothes for making kitchen towels, mops to clean your house. You can always find a way to reuse stuff. You can make tote bags from your old T-shirts. It's just a matter of like getting a little bit more creative, maybe Googling some DIY ideas of what to do. You don't always have to throw away something just because it gets a little ripped or you don't like it anymore.
Yeah, like a sock with a hole in it. You know, you keep it as a duster.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Also, just want to give a little shout out. I'm sitting in a cafe that is closed at the moment, but they let us in so we can use their Wi-Fi because my friend doesn't have Wi-Fi in their flat yet. And they just brought us some vegan ice cream that is delicious.
Oh, wow. Jealous.
It's literally the nicest people. It's called Cookies & Co. And it's the loveliest cafe in Berlin. If you're ever in Berlin, you have to come check it out. They have like brownies and salads and sandwiches and incredible mango ice cream. It's a little off topic.
I'm getting hungry now.
Sorry.
No, thank you. And thank you to Cookies & Co. for allowing you to stay there after closing. That's awesome. Right, okay, so there was another subject that I want to talk about, and that was about activism. And I'm going to keep you on, Belle. And Emma, I'm going to say bye for now, but I'm going to bring you back on in a bit. And we're going to talk about activism. And what I want to talk to Belle and Emily about is, whilst Belle is enjoying her mango ice cream sorbet, I'm so jealous. And I want to talk to you guys because I'm aware that you've both done activism and you stood up for what you believe is right. And I want to ask you where you think the women are at in the movement. I asked this question once before online and said, where are my ladies at? And loads of people said, well, the vegan movement is predominantly made up of women. But I proposed the question. I was like, no, I'm not asking where the women are. It's like, where are the leaders, the female leaders of the movement? Because there are so many women that are out there, you know, working, doing a lot of the groundwork, but it's men that seem to be getting the airtime. And I just wondered what, Emily, you thought about that. And I think I spoke to you personally the other day at a vigil we was at together. And where are the female leaders in the vegan movement?
Yeah, it's because there are so many women like organising vigils and events and protests. It's such a female-dominated movement, which is amazing and it's really empowering. As you said, it's like all the ones in the spotlight to be the men. You know, which is, you know, we've got Ed, you've got James, you've got Joey, which they're fantastic activists and it's great, but there's not a big female presence at that kind of level, I suppose, on those kind of platforms. Why? I don't know. I guess I don't know whether it's, you see it in so many other things. It's not just a problem with veganism. Like something like really silly, like when I went to uni, I did psychology, and the first few years, it's like 80% women and like 20% men. But the higher you go, the higher the percentage of men that are present. And you'll get like when you get to PhD level, it's mostly just men. So it is a broader problem. It's
definitely
rather than just something to do with veganism.
I mean, I think it is more of a social issue, but I think with there being so many women in the movement, we need to encourage one another and push one another up to the top. I mean, what do you think? I mean, what's it like in Germany? I mean, do your friends have any women that inspire them, or what's it like in Germany for women activists?
I'm not sure I'm the right person to ask because I've only been here for a couple of days, and I'm not entirely sure what the movement here is like. But I think, like Emily said, it's not just in veganism that men are on the top. I think because sadly still in society, men are considered as more, just their opinion is considered as more important. We still see them as the actual change makers and movers and shakers of this world. And I also think with veganism, because for some reason it's portrayed as such an emotional thing, and less men are vegan because they think it's not manly. Having these like strong vegan men being out there and speaking up about it shows society that is not, it is not just a women thing. It's not a something that requires you to be like feminine, whatever that means, to, you know, have compassion. So I think I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing. Obviously, I would like to see more female presence, but I think those male voices have a very strong impact on society's way of seeing veganism. Because most people in their day-to-day life, they would meet vegan women, because the majority of us are, I guess. So when you see men being vegan and them being like strong and not protein deficient, and you get these like role models in a way, that really makes an impact. Because my dad, for example, his two of his favorite athletes went vegan recently, and he went and told me, he's like, oh, this guy went vegan, and then that guy's vegan, and I'm like, see, it's like not just me like you used to think. And I think these are the people that kind of make an impact and influence the part of our society that wouldn't otherwise be influenced. So I do think it's a good thing, even though my feminist part is in pain saying that. I'm kidding.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose, I mean, fundamentally, the whole point is that we talk about veganism and we get people becoming vegan in which any way we can possibly. And if it's guys at the top that are getting the chance to talk about it, then cool, go for it. But like you said, Belle, there's that feminist part of you was like, where the ladies? I want to see my women up there.
Yeah, it's like they've got such an important role to play, and you know, we need them there. But a couple of female voices as well as that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, do either of you have any women in particular that inspire you? I mean,
I suppose a big one, when I first was Bite Size Vegan, I used to like her stuff is incredible, absolutely amazing. She was a real big, like I used to follow her so much when it first was vegan. She's amazing. She's
on YouTube, isn't she? And she does like 5-minute little videos.
Yeah, they're just so educational and they're so well put together. And a lot of them aren't graphic as well. So it's just, and she does a great one for kids to talk to their parents about veganism. She just covers every topic. It's amazing.
Yeah. And Belle, is there any women in the movement that inspire you?
I really love Bonnie Rebecca and Ellen Fisher. Ellen, I think she portrays, she talks about veganism in a very holistic way, and about raising a vegan family and showing mothers that it's possible to have a healthy vegan child, which is a worry for many women, having babies. So I think that's a very good point to sort of talk about more.
Yeah,
definitely. They live in such a beautiful part of the world.
Yeah.
Whereabouts do they live? Where are they based?
They're Hawaii. They're based in Hawaii.
Very nice.
Stop eating ice cream on TV, but
go for it, girl. I'm jealous. No one's done.
I know. She sent some over here.
Yeah. Well, we need more vegan establishments.
Berlin with me next time.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Well, I think, Belle, didn't you mention to me before we should do a vegan girls on tour? Go to some different locations, maybe in the UK or so forth.
For sure.
Yeah, we'll have to set that up.
Yeah.
Definitely. Cool. Right. I'm just going to ask Nikki and Emma some very similar questions on their activism, because I'm aware that they've done some as well. So thank you, Belle and Emily, for answering the questions. And yeah, we'll have you back just very shortly. Okay. Okay, so again, I want to ask Nikki and Emma very similar questions. I know that Nikki's been to a lot of vigils, and I know that Emma has been setting up a lot of events as well, particularly where she lives, and she has an approach of talking more educationally and factually, don't you, Emma? You've got it all up there. You know, nobody can beat you down on this. You've got your facts.
Well, I'm trying. I really struggled with activism to begin with, because I was like, oh, I've read these scientific papers and it says that da-da-da% of blah, blah. And I would kind of go off on one, and it would just be like, basically what you need to say is, do you think that is right? No. You know, and it's sometimes that easy. We are very emotional beings, obviously. And I think my scientific training had kind of made me not value that as much. Obviously, science is a very male-dominated profession. And so I didn't ascribe emotion as being a valuable way of communicating. And I still struggle with that. But I'm learning, and from psychological studies, we also know that emotion can be useful in decision making as well. So it's not without its merits, and I'm learning to tap into it a bit more and practicing my face like this.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, like, Nikki, if I can ask you, sorry, Emma.
Inside, it's a struggle.
Oh, okay. Nikki, where do you think women are at in the movement? I mean, what roles do you think women are really strong at in the vegan movement?
Well, really, I think it's the organising and getting people where they need to be, itineraries, timings, getting in touch with loads of people, sending loads of messages, having 5 million conversations at once. I think that's our strong point by nature. I believe in equality, but I'm also very aware that men and women have different attributes that are useful, and I think maybe that's why it's ended up the way it has, perhaps because we're good at getting a group of people together, and we're good at inspiring and getting other people involved, and I think that's how it's ended up this way. And I do think maybe a lot of us shy away from the spotlight. Maybe most of them aren't bothered about being in the spotlight with it. I don't know. Yeah. I obviously can't speak for everybody, because I love it, but
no, I think it's awesome. I think, you do so well at it, talking to people and, bringing awareness to it. And like you say, you do it in a humorous way, but again, very factual, and people need to take the harsh realities sometimes of what you say, but it's true, and truth can hurt sometimes. But I mean, I just want to go back to some other questions as well, that, women are maybe seen as being too sensitive and too emotional, and men are seen more as leaders. And, if a woman is standing there harking on about save the animals, we're just going to look like we're too emotional, and people don't like that, so they won't listen. But if it's a man standing there point blank staring, saying his piece, maybe people want to hear that more than a woman that they see as being emotional. I mean, Emma, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a struggle, because that is unfortunately the society that's been created. Going back to women and the spotlight, there's something called risky play, and that starts when we're very young. So in the playground, boys will be boys. Oh, they can climb and they can do things. They'll break their legs. It's fine. But with female children, it's always, oh, be really careful, and there's a lot more bubble wrap surrounding them. And then that translates to us in later life. We question ourselves. We question our abilities, especially when, men are often so prominent and confident in their roles, whether or not they're talking complete crap or not. It's that I'm going to push to the front, I'm going to wing it, and women second guess themselves. And it's partly because of our upbringing in our society, but I think we also, being so sociable, like Nikki said, we foster relationships. We are also in the animal kingdom as well. You see this. It's really important that the females are all on side with each other for the stability of the community. And so I think that's why, one of the reasons why we like to organize and encourage. And by doing that, we spread the love, and the guys just go, hey, I'm gonna be it. But yeah, it's all complicated. But yeah, it's changing. I think women are starting to come forward. I also want to see, more people of color in the spotlight. I really love everyone's diversity, and I want to see that coming forward because it makes us more relevant.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more in that respect. Definitely. I mean, also, Emma, if I could just ask you if there's any women in particular that inspire you in the vegan movement.
I'm a little weirdo because I've never been interested in celebrities. I'm always like, if I've seen a celebrity, I'm like, it's a person. I don't get it. However, I think Hal from Israel, she does some great stuff. And I mean, I get energy from you guys, from the women I meet on the streets. Every on the streets, in activism, everyone has something to teach me, and it's fab. I think we've got a really great supportive community, and vegan women for me have just been a pinnacle of strength and a fountain of information. And I thank you all for helping me as well.
Yeah, well, I'd like to thank you as well, and Nikki, and the other ladies, because I think it's so important to encourage one another, and with our strength, I think it just makes it stronger. I mean, Nikki, is there anyone in particular that you're inspired by, or is it very similar to Emma? You're very inspired by the women directly around you, and maybe your mum as well.
Yeah, of course, it's my mumsy, of course. But, yeah, for me, celebrities, I don't know. I'm a massive tomboy, so I've always just I relate to guys quite often. But as Emma said earlier, Emily from Bite Size Vegan, she's phenomenal. Literally, you can find the answer to anything on her YouTube channel, and she's strong but calm, and she's a really, really good avocado. And
Can use that.
That's what I was just thinking. I like that.
It's really good, isn't it? Hench Herbivore said that. When I first met him, he was like, "You're a good avocado." I was like, "Oh, thanks." But yeah, other than her, as somebody I watched an awful lot in the beginning of my vegan journey, is my friends, my girls, Emily, Emma, Reb. There's a lady called Debbie. I don't know if she's watching. Debbie lives very close to me, and I absolutely adore her. She's one of the strongest yet the most kind people I've ever met. It's women I'm directly involved with. Events and stuff. We've become really good friends as well. And it's just been the women that, because I wasn't working when I first started activism, so I had really poor finances, and it was the girls that were buying me a coffee, giving me food, giving me lifts.
The girls had your back.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, we're almost at the time of calling it for the end of Women's Hour. I can't believe an hour has already passed. That's gone so quick.
Yeah.
So, Nikki, I personally want to thank you so much for coming on the show. And if people want to follow you via social media, where can they find you?
Okay, so they can find me on Facebook as Nikki T. They can find me on YouTube as Nikki T. And because someone else has my handle for some reason, on Instagram, I'm on there as Nikki_Tizzle.
Tizzle my nizzle.
Yeah, for Rizzle.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nikki. And I'm sure I will see you soon, no doubt. And Emma, I'd like to thank you as well for coming on the show and talking so educationally about what you know and science and talking about plastics and all your thoughts. And yeah, so if people want to follow you, where can they find you on social media?
I am on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as The Ecologist. I do have a YouTube channel, but that's very sporadic. So if I post anything, you'll hear about it on my other social.
Yeah, you're very active on Instagram, aren't you?
Yeah, I like Instagram. Yeah, it's good. And then I'm also at Leicester Vegan Festival this Saturday as well.
Yes, awesome. That's great. Well, I hope that goes well. And thank you again for coming on the show. And I just want to give a couple. Yeah, it has. And I just want to give a couple more thanks as well. So I want to say thank you to Belle as well and to Emily for coming on the show. I mean, it's been great to speak to everybody. And I think everyone's given a real informative talk today. So Belle, I hope you have a lovely rest of your birthday celebrations.
Thank you.
And have you finished your mango sorbet?
I have.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. But thank you so much for coming on the show. And I hope to work with you again in the future. And where can people find you on social media?
I'm on Instagram as BeetleBelle, and I actually also have a YouTube channel. It's not something I use often. I literally uploaded one video that I filmed of little clips when my friends and I went to the forest a couple of weeks ago.
Nice.
Yeah, quite nice. We stayed in a little cabin. So if you want to watch that, the link is in my Instagram.
Awesome. Cool. Right. Well, people go and follow BeetleBelle on Instagram and then follow to the YouTube and watch the clip. Cool. Thank you, Belle, and have a safe trip when you come back.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye. And Emily, thank you so much for coming on the show. I mean, I know I see you quite... No, thank you so much. And I see you quite regularly as well at different events as we live quite close. And it's so great to work with you. And you've been very inspiring. All the ladies have, but yes, yourself in particular have been very inspiring. So where can people find you on social media?
Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and it's all as The Other Vegan. So,
awesome.
Nice and easy.
Yeah, The Other Vegan. So people go and follow Emily and look at what she's up to and all the work that she does for activism and for animals. I couldn't recommend her enough. Okay. Thank you, Emily, and no doubt see you soon.
Yeah, definitely.
See you later. Bye. Okay, everyone. So thank you so much for tuning in. It's been great. It's been a first show. And I hope that you've enjoyed it and listening to all the other ladies and what it is that they've had to say. And don't forget, Inside Veganism will be back next Thursday, and it will be with Aidan. And we will be co-hosting the show. And on the show, we are going to have Emily is going to be back on. Then we are going to have Magda, and she just released a cookbook. And we're also going to have Rami on the show. And he recently did a little recording of talking to some children about slaughtering a chicken. And it's really fascinating to watch and see their reaction when they are handed effectively a knife and told to slit the throat of the chicken. It's quite gripping to watch, but I would recommend it, and I'll put a link in so you can see it as well. Okay, so Inside Veganism is going to be next Thursday on Facebook Live between 7 and 8 p.m. UK time, and Aidan and I will be co-hosting, and Women's Hour will be back on the third Thursday next month, and that is going to be on the 17th of May. Okay, and we'll see you then, and thanks for tuning in. Bye.